What is up? What is up? YouTube, how y'all doing, man? I am back home. I'm back in my studio. Wait a minute, y'all. Wait. Dude, while I was down at the courthouse, I seen, God dang it, y'all know Uncle Mike can't even remember names, man. There she go, right there. She be outside filming for Nancy Grace, and I had the opportunity to talk to her, man. She's a sweetheart. I like that. She's real cool, laid back and everything. And oh man, I just want y'all to see. Oh my God, y'all want to see Uncle Mike going crazy.
Yep.
So I'm talking to her now. I got the microphone on.
Her up.
And she was, can I film you a little bit?
Yeah,
This is, look at this.
I said, yeah, of course. Thank you for asking.
Look, I can't get this. Hey, can you hold this for a second?
I'm asking people.
He's my friend Sean, you know.
I'm asking people to hold my camera so I can get a shot. I don't have no cameraman, y'all, so I can get a shot with her. You know, I don't do the selfie thing, man. But here we go.
Sean's
Check
at
this
Complex,
out.
by the way. Way cooler than me. But
Hey,
yeah.
Sean, what's going on? Can you see? Most definitely.
Hi.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you carry it all the time.
Right. I just got used to it.
Nice, though.
And-
It's a nice
Those
camera.
arms is really showing.
Yeah, I didn't want to film her too long. I didn't want to just throw the camera in her face. I'm kind of amateur at doing this, y'all. But anyway, hey, shout out to Nancy Grace. She was telling me that Nancy was a prosecutor and all the stuff that Nancy did, and she's really hard on this whole Diddy thing, man, because it's. I mean, Nancy kind of remind me of what's that? Judge Judy. She a hard person, and we need more hard people out here because yes is yes, no is no. Did you do it or not? I mean, all that gray area. Get out of that gray area, man. So Nancy gets out of that gray area real quick. So that's what I like about her. But Scott.
Today was the day when the breaking
My
news
bad.
tonight.
Here we go. Hit that subscribe button.
Diddy.
Hit that bell. Let's check it out.
The freak off. Breaking news tonight. Disgusting Diddy.
I messed that one
freak
up.
offs were too gross for hotel staff. Diddy's personal assistants forced to go into the hotel room and clean up baby oil, bodily fluids, and more, and then fluff the pillows so future guests wouldn't know what had happened. And a Diddy monster, apparently working for Sean Combs, causes his assistant's hair to fall out. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us. Good evening. Thank you for being with us. Straight out to the courthouse, standing by Lauren Conlon, investigative reporter and
There she
host
go.
of Pop Crime TV. Lauren, thank you for being with us. You've been in the courtroom all day. What happened? Start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning.
Nancy, we heard testimony from Capricorn Clark, and she was Diddy's personal assistant at one point. She was a global marketing manager, a brand ambassador, and also was Cassie Ventura's brand marketing manager. And she worked on and off for Diddy from 2004 up until 2018. And her testimony, Nancy, was very powerful. She has witnessed a lot of different incidents, and she was the assistant that Diddy kidnapped at gunpoint to allegedly go and, quote, kill Kid Cudi. And these are words from Capricorn Clark herself on the stand. She was awoken at 5 or 6 a.m. and it was Diddy at her door. She said he had a gun. He came into her house and he told her that they were going to go and kill Kid Cudi. Not only that, Nancy, she talked about how one of her friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and on her first day, Diddy brought her into Central Park after 9 p.m. with a bodyguard and basically said that he would have to kill her if anything happened when it came to Suge. She also testified that she witnessed him talking to 50 Cent's manager in an elevator. And this is someone named Chris Lighty, who was also his manager at the time. They were doing some kind of MTV press thing. And in the elevator, he had a problem with 50 Cent. And he told his manager, I don't like this back and forth. I prefer guns. She testified that she got alopecia from stress, from working from 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. And at one point, she testified that she went to HR about overtime, and the HR person calculated about $80,000 that she was owed in overtime. And Capricorn Clark testified that he ripped it up. Now, some of the most heart-wrenching testimony that she gave today was after the Kid Cudi incident, when she was at Sean Combs' house with Cassie Ventura. She testified that he Cassie over and over and over again until she was on the ground in a fetal position. And she said that each time he would her, Cassie would take a few steps back, and he started this beat down in the house, and they ended up on the street. And she testified that she called different bodyguards when the bodyguard on duty wasn't doing anything, and she said, help her. And then when Diddy finally kicked her out of the house that day, she called Regina Ventura, and she was very tearful on the stand when she said this. She said, he is beating the living crap out of your daughter, and I'm paraphrasing, and she said, I can't do anything. I am in over my head. You need to do something. And it was, the jury was, I could tell they were writing things down. They were on the edge of their seat. It was very, very dramatic, Nancy.
Lauren Collin joining us at the courthouse. So, first of all,
oh my God, yeah, that's a lot to take in, man. Can you I don't know how y'all looking at this stuff, but can you imagine your son or daughter in a position like that? Can you imagine you being helpless while somebody on the phone is telling you all this stuff is going on? Oh my gracious, boy, I swear. Here we go, man. Let's keep going, man.
Could tell they were writing things down.
Golly.
They were on the edge of their seat. It was very, very dramatic, Nancy.
Lauren Collin joining us at the courthouse. So, first of all, Capricorn says that working for Diddy was making her go bald. She was losing her hair.
Yes, she said that she developed a condition called alopecia, and the doctor basically said you need less stress in your life to try to manage this.
Is it true, Lauren, that according to her sworn testimony that Sean Combs fired her for not ratting out Cassie dating Kid Cudi?
Yes, she describes being terminated multiple times. At one point in 2004, she said she was briefly terminated over a girlfriend Diddy had. And then in 2012, she was terminated over Cassie. But she said that the excuse they used was that she didn't get a vacation authorized or something like that. But really, she knew it was because of Cassie.
Capricorn Clark says on the stand, quote, I lost everything. And she is talking about all of her employment benefits, like her 401k, her health insurance, all down the crapper. And isn't it true that Combs, according to her, used the infamous words, you'll never work in this town again, all these people aren't your friends, and that he would make her kill herself?
He said that she'd never work in this town again, and she actually testified that she was able to land a job, and then that job fell through. And yes, at another point, when he was making threats to her, she said there was something like 50 threats between the incident with Kid Cudi up until she was fired, which is a few months later. She said there was about 50 different threats, and yes, one of them was, I hope you kill yourself or something along those lines.
According to the testimonies as we are hearing it from the witness stand, Sean Combs said that he would make her kill herself. And then in a later conversation, he says he's quizzing her, Capricorn Clark, about what she knew regarding Ventura's relationship with Kid Cudi, questioning exactly what she knew and when she knew it. He gets angry, of course, and says, quote, I should kill you.
Yes, and she also described something that, to me, it was out of a horror movie, but when she was in the car and Diddy was inside Kid Cudi's house, with a security guard or an associate, she said that she made a call to Cassie's burner phone. And after she called Cassie on this burner number, she quickly changed it to her friend's name. And when Diddy got back in the car and she hung up, he said, "Who are you on the phone with?" And she said, "My friend." He took her phone and he called the number back and he realized it was Cassie. And she said that he was angrier than he was even showing up to her house that night. And she was terrified.
Another thing that we learned from Capricorn Clark on the stand, a longtime Diddy protege, is that these are her words, not mine. After the Kid Cudi incident, following the break-in, when Sean Combs goes in to his love rival's apartment and starts opening up Chanel gift bags from under the Christmas tree to see what he was going to give Cassie for Christmas, Capricorn Clark tells the court that after that, Combs, quote, came at Cassie 100% full force. 100% full force, kicking her while she crouched, getting more and more in a fetal position, Cassie crying, and Combs over and over and over. Is that right?
Yes, that was so difficult to hear in the courtroom. Let me tell you, that was tough. And that was when she testified that Cassie would be crying, taking a few steps back as he would take her, and they wound up in the street, starting from the house. Now, Capricorn Clark, by the way, she also testified about an incident where she was at one of his homes, I believe it was his Miami home, and she made a comment. She was exhausted, something like in front of the chef, she said, I hate it here. And the chef told this to Diddy, and Diddy freaked out, and she described him using 70% of his force to shoot her in the shoulders all the way back out of his house. She described herself being shot about 30 yards back through the butler door from the kitchen, and he just said, get the F out, get the F out.
Now, she also stated that she did not personally intervene when Ventura was taking these because she was convinced Combs would then turn on her and beat her the same way.
He actually said that. He said something like, don't even think about it or I'm going to open this up on you.
How was the courtroom reacting to Capricorn Clark's testimony?
I mean, it was intense. You could hear a pin drop. I saw the jury's faces going back to the lawyer, back to Capricorn Clark, and then just writing things down. I mean, I have to say that this testimony, in my opinion, was one of the strongest that we've heard thus far.
Didn't she also testify, Lauren Conlon, that Sean Combs actually held her, Capricorn Clark, hostage until Cassie Ventura would come over after the Kid Cudi incident?
So she described after they left Kid Cudi's house, they stopped at this club, and Sean Combs got out of the car, she stayed in the car, and he instructed her to call Cassie and tell Cassie that if she doesn't come to Sean Combs's house, that he would not let Capricorn Clark go. And so Clark said that Cassie appeared very, very calm in demeanor on the phone, and she said, "I'll be right there."
Joining us, in addition to Lauren Conlon from Pop Crime TV, standing by at the courthouse, a full panel of experts, straight out to Greg Morse, veteran criminal defense attorney at Morse Legal, author of The Untested on Amazon. Morse, you keep saying over and over, it's like the chorus of a hymn at a Methodist church. We're singing it again and again. You keep saying, yes, they've proven he's a horrible, vile, despicable person, but have they proven sex trafficking or criminal enterprise?
Facts.
Can you actually say with a straight face that all of these employees doing his bidding for criminal reasons does not equal a criminal enterprise?
Yeah, it doesn't equal a criminal enterprise as to how he's charged. He's charged with running a criminal enterprise to commit sex trafficking by force or coercion. These people testified again to acts that are horrible. Okay, so they had to undergo a lie detector. What does that have to do with a criminal enterprise? The main part of the government's case that's missing is their first witness.
Car bombing someone's car, breaking into his house, someone if they won't do a freak off. All those are crimes.
Yeah, they are
Well,
crimes, but is
there's
it
no
RICO?
evidence that Cassie was beaten so she would do a freak off. She actually said the opposite. That's all my point is that all of these facts, the explosion of the car, none of that has been linked to
RICO.
force, fraud, or coercion to
Nope.
force Cassie Ventura into sex trafficking. She actually said the opposite. What makes it difficult and why the defense is probably not going to win is they have to defend so many horrible acts. They have to defend an arson, a car bomb, even though he wasn't charged. And no matter what you say about that, it takes its toll on the jury against the defendant. But in this particular case, there's been no evidence still that this is all done to sex traffic. What it sounds like to me is he wanted to live the lifestyle that he and his artist rapped about, but he's just not that type of guy. So he pretended to be a tough guy. And that's all he is a pretend tough guy.
Let
And
me,
that's what this evidence shows.
I'm so tempted to cut your mic, but I want to see your face when I read what is in the 5-count indictment. Prosecutors state that Combs, quote, relied on employees, resources, and influence of a multifaceted business, creating an enterprise whose members and associates engaged in, among other things, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction. We have the arson of Kid Cudi's car. He had someone create a Molotov cocktail and throw it. Obstruction, bribery occurred, and that guy's caught on video. The guy that answered the call at the Intercontinental Hotel, he tried to bribe him with a big stack of money. We've heard that testimony on the stand. Forced labor. You've just heard what Capricorn Clark testified to, along with other assistants. The state is making out the RICO case right there.
Well-
When you have employees and you use your business resources like your credit card or your employees or your accountant to send an extortion threat to Cassie's mother, we heard about last week. The accountant did that and gave instructions on how to wire the blackmail money, for Pete's sake. He's using his business employees, his business resources to affect crimes. That's what a criminal enterprise is.
But it's not just any crime. They charged it as sex trafficking. You can't just have, maybe it's okay, his purpose was to sell drugs. His purpose was to steal identities.
Cut his
You
mic.
can say anything
Cut his
based
mic.
on these.
Lynn Shaw, I still hear him. Why is that happening? Lynn Shaw joining me, founder director Lynn's Warriors, dedicated to ending sex trafficking. Could you take Greg Morse to school now?
Cut his mic. Cut his mic. Why am I still hearing him? Cut his mic. Wow, Nancy. I mean, these are lawyers. They are lawyers. And boy, I would not want her to be a judge, and I had to be a lawyer to talk to her. Because if things ain't going her way, look at this. It's crazy. But he making a good point, though, I'm thinking.
Hey, his purpose was to sell drugs. His purpose was to steal identities.
Cut his
You
mic.
can say anything
Cut his
based
mic.
on these.
Lynn Shaw, I still hear him. Why is that happening? Lynn Shaw joining me, founder director Lynn's Warriors, dedicated to ending sex trafficking. Could you take Greg Morse to school now on sex trafficking?
Let me tell you something, Greg. This is the prime example of how many lawyers and the justice system do not understand what victims, survivors of this exploitation and years of it go through. This is the biggest problem we have when we're in the courts. Nobody understands vulnerable people. I don't care what they said in text messages, what they say out loud. They're not understanding the psychological damage and how people play out. These victims of all of this. This is being laid out for a criminal enterprise, Triple D, because I'm naming him now Dirty Diddy Degenerate as of today. It is part of a whole crime syndicate. I don't know, forced labor. I mean, that's part of human trafficking. This is going to be a RICO case. I am tired of everybody not understanding about the victims and survivors. I'm tired of everybody defending these criminals, or I guess I'm supposed to say alleged criminals, but everybody, and Greg included. Come on now, come to the Warrior School and let me teach you about victims and survivors, because we have to change. We have to change this all up right now.
When, if ever, was the last time you checked your home's title? Well, if you're like me, The answer is never. So stop what you're doing and make sure your title is still in your name immediately. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code Nancy. You also get a free title history monitoring. Urge out you. Sean Combs behind bars. Listen, Nancy.
Okay, here we go.
It was Memorial Day this past weekend, and I don't know what you did, but I know what Diddy did. Sean Combs behind bars. Listen.
Diddy rings in his first Memorial Day behind bars, a far cry from his days of throwing Ciroc-sponsored yacht parties. Sean Combs may have celebrated the long weekend with some friendly cell block competition. Inmates allowed to play 3-on-3 basketball. Board games, spades, or dominoes. Combs enjoyed fruit and cereal for breakfast, barbecued chicken with mac and cheese and a holiday dessert for lunch, and chicken and rice with whole wheat bread for dinner.
Dang.
Barbecue chicken, board games, friendly cell block competition 3-on-3, mac and cheese, holiday dessert. Lynn Shaw, while he is living the life in his dorm-style unit,
Damn.
how do you think those women that were allegedly drugged in their drinks, stripped, raped, and sodomized on video, and then later that video was held over their heads for extortion, according to the prosecution? How do you think they feel about Diddy, King Sean Combs, king of the cell block, getting served barbecue chicken
King of the cell
and
block.
playing 3-on-3 and having a special holiday dessert?
You know what, Nancy? I am so embarrassed that all of these victims, all of these survivors have to hear about this. What happened to the good old days where you had to scrub out the cells and clean the toilets and things like that? Wash the floors with a toothbrush. This is what this guy deserves, because all of these victims, and I'm going to remind everybody, a lot of them have never come forward. They'd rather just disappear, forget about it. They're too scared. So you know what? I don't care. Give him bad tuna fish. Let him get, some food poisoning. We can't focus on this. Let us keep our focus again on victims and survivors. I don't care. He should get nothing. He should be doing some sort of community service within the jail or something. I don't want to hear about his macaroni and cheese and his barbecue
Clean
chicken. That's a
up
lot more
with a
food than other
toothbrush.
people.
Are you kidding,
Yes.
Lynn Shaw?
Yes.
Because tonight
Yes.
we're learning exactly how badly he trashed his hotel rooms. Listen.
Former assistant George Kaplan testifies no one specifically instructed him to clean up Frank Black's hotel rooms, but Kaplan did not trust hotel staff with Combs' privacy and felt it was his responsibility to protect his boss's public image. Kaplan says he would pick up empty bottles of baby oil, liquor, and Gatorade and occasionally get rid of drugs ahead of cleaning staff arriving to make sure no one learned anything about the mogul he didn't want them to know.
And that is why, to renowned psychoanalyst joining us out of LA, Dr. Bethany Marshall, this weekend I invested in a hotel Diddy stick.
Oh my God. Here we
Because
go.
Sean Combs would have his employees, his assistants, go wade through all that baby oil, bodily fluids, that's sweat and more. Think about it. People drinking, people doing drugs, Sean Combs sitting back, talking on the phone and during all of this, directing the whole thing. Then he would, after all of that, and everybody goes home, the assistants would have to come in and clean up because they did not want Sean Combs' image tarnished. So what does that mean to me, Dr. Bethany Marshall? That means that before I go to the Hermitage or I go to the Intercontinental, I'm taking my hotel Diddy wand.
Diddy wand.
My Diddy stick can pick up all of those germs and clean it with ultraviolet rays. I didn't put any stock into this until I started investigating this case. And so then they would go, Dr. Bethany, he'd make the assistants go and like fluff the pillows and arrange them. So the future guests and the hotel employees would come in and not know what had just happened. You think I'm going to go sit on a sofa in that hotel room? No, HELLNO. Neither me or the twins are sitting on that sofa after Diddy's had a freak off in there. They can fluff the pillows all they want to.
I'm never going to look at a hotel room in the same way again. I'm never going to lie on a comforter cover. I will never go stay at the Four Seasons or the Intercontinental, which, by the way, is just down the road from my my Beverly Hills office. You know, Nancy, he abused everybody on every level. Even the making people go in and clean up all these bodily fluids is yet another form of abuse. He abused in every
Why do you keep
single
saying
way.
bodily fluids? I mean, you're an LA psychoanalyst. Certainly, you've had to say the words sweat.
Because she knows.
You know what? What? Listen.
Friedrich.
Because she don't want the words to be muted like you, like all your words was just muted. Oh my God, yeah.
Certainly, you've had to say the words sweat. You know what? What? Listen.
Here we go.
Friedrich 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗡, the manager of 𝗟𝗜𝗡𝗡𝗡 Hotel in Beverly Hills, discussed Sean Combs' history of reservations. Combs opened an account in 2006, but 3 years later, the name was changed to Jackie Starr, then Frank White, then Frank Black, and Ryan Lopez. The notes stayed the same. Number 1, monitor outside the room to spray air freshener. Number 2, place the room out of order upon departure for deep cleaning. Always spills candle wax on everything and uses excessive amounts of oil. And number 3, please authorize an extra $1,000 at check-in to cover room damages.
Crispin, Robert Crispin joining me, former Vice, former homicide, former Federal Task Force officer, U.S. Department of Justice, blah, 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 blah. Now, Crispin Special Investigations. Crispin, you know what? I go right up to that jury and I would show them the hotel notes. Just wait a minute. It says it all. And then case closed. Monitor outside the room to spray air freshener. These are in the notes when Sean Combs would check into the L'Ermitage. Place room out of order upon Combs' departure for deep cleaning. Always in caps. Always. Yeah, let's look at him. Always spills candle wax on everything. And uses excessive amounts of oil. And please authorize an extra $1,000 at check-in to cover room damages. Okay, you need to go out and get one of these. Okay, I'm telling you, because this thing lights up and it catches all of Sean Combs' bodily fluids that he left on those sofas before he made his assistant fluff the pillows. I mean, that's State's Exhibit number 1 right there. That's disgusting.
Yeah, so that's some pretty damning evidence when you have handwritten notes about certain things to do. And I'm sure back here at his house here on Star Island in Miami Beach, this was a plethora of that activity here. And I can only imagine the cleanup for this size of house versus a hotel room. Quite the difference.
And so, Greg Morse, you're telling me I can't even imagine the Pandora's box of germs behind Robert Crispin in that Miami mansion, which was also subject to a raid. Greg Morse, so you're telling me that Sean Combs' employees willingly cleaned up his bodily fluids. That's like putting perfume on the pig. His sweat.
Oh my God.
Victims' bodily fluids after and what?
It was their job. They were paid to do
that's
that.
a good
That
point.
was literally
They got
their
paid
job.
by the company to clean up
So?
after the freak-offs, which is using the
But there's-
company's resources to
None of this
further
is illegal,
criminal
though,
enterprise.
in and of itself. This is an ad for using a Motel 6 instead of a high-end hotel. This is not illegal in and of itself, as long as Cassie and the other people keep saying, I did this consensually. Maybe I didn't like it. She literally said that. In fact, one of the sex workers even said, Cassie paid me, and she seemed fine. So you're taking information that, frankly, a lot of people
seemed fine. She seemed fine, Dr. Bethany Marshall, because she would be beaten out of her gourd if she didn't.
Well,
She seemed fine, Nancy, because she was dissociated and he was keeping her addicted. She tried to go to rehab 5 different times and he kept bringing her back. Nancy, this was...
Wow. See how you get information? I didn't know that she went to rehab 5 different times, or she tried to go. That's what she said. 5. She tried to go. Stick to the words that they say.
It's a reign of terror. This is so much more than a criminal enterprise. This is like a sex cult. And Nancy, there's a drug that has not been mentioned at all that I can hear. And that is steroids, if we can think of that as a drug. He puts so much energy into terrorizing, kidnapping, spilling bodily fluids all over the place. And it puts all that energy and all that rage seems to me like he's roided out most of the time.
God dang.
Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. If you're on the go, catch us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all of our content where we, in our own way, seek justice.
Dirty Diddy disciples.
Diddy was menacing, threatening, intimidating.
And it's influence, and it's his power that controlled them.
They are terrified of him.
It's Diddy's world, and we're all just living in it. Not. Joining us tonight, a very special guest, known by many as, quote, the Punisher. That's a moniker. His real name is 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 Hayes. Mr. Hayes, thank you for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
The Punisher, y'all.
Mr. Hayes, when did you first learn that your former client, Sean Combs, had been indicted in a multi-count federal indictment for sex trafficking?
Yeah, I was contacted probably about 3 or 4 months prior to the charges actually coming about. Believe it or not, I had a lighthearted conversation initially with the federal investigators that
I find that very hard to believe. The feds had a lighthearted conversation. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, I was told that I was one of hundreds of people that were being interviewed. They were just doing their due diligence. And, it was a brief, they just wanted a brief summary of what my interactions was. Me personally, I never thought my involvement was significant. So I kind of just said, hey guys, I don't really have much for you. I was in state. I understood trafficking had to be an out of state scenario. And I also told them that I didn't see any aggression, any physical abuse, anything to that degree. So I was kind of unaware of my involvement. So the conversation was brief, about 20 minutes at my apartment. And I never even thought I would hear from anybody again.
Well, I've got a question. If everything was normal and your job with Sean Combs, your sex job with him was just like every other job, then why did you lose your and couldn't perform?
Well, like every other job is out of context. I was a male stripper, so sex work wasn't something that I did for a living. So it was completely out of my zone to be in a scenario with a woman who at the time I thought it was her husband, being in a room, being a part of a sexual activity, especially in the scenario that I described. He had on a burqa, a veil over his face.
Okay, I want to see his face, please. Whoa. Do you prefer to be called 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, Mr. Hayes, or the Punisher?
Believe it or not, I'm called all three on a daily basis. So I'm fine with either one.
I'm going to go with Mr. Hayes.
Me too.
Mr. Hayes,
that works.
That's what I would
could you
went
repeat
to.
what you just said about the burqa? And I'm going to get back to your lack of in a moment. I'm not letting that go.
Yeah.
I got to nail that down because you say, oh, it was just business as usual. But I bet you don't lose your every time you perform, right? Is that like a hazard of the job? But first, back to the burqa.
Yeah, so it's obviously seeing an adult male in a burqa is not something that is normal. It was surprising when he first came out, and remember, I have no idea who they are at this point. And when it's framed to me, Miss Ventura told me we're going to set this scene, we're going to do oil, and my husband's eventually going to walk out. And so when he comes out,
What do you mean by that? We're going to do oil.
Yeah, what that mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're remember my testimony, but the way
no, I've never been to a freak off.
No, not the freak off. My testimony. My testimony. And my testimony.
Okay,
I
what does it mean to do oil?
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's like a mutual massage. The freak off started off the same way, where we did a mutual individual massage. We put oil on ourselves and then oil on each other, which led to sexual activity.
Okay, so you did oil. Can we get back to the burqa? Because a traditional burqa involves a conservative Muslim female being covered in a dark material from head to wrist to toe. But isn't it true Mr. Combs only wore a burqa from the neck up, from the neck down? He was buck naked.
That is correct. That is correct. That is the situation I found myself in. It was very odd. It made it difficult to concentrate and to focus. So I'm sure you can see how that leads to
I guess so.
Malfunction.
You got
that right. Okay, I'm totally stealing that. You had malfunction.
A malfunction.
Okay. So back to the burqa. So at that time, you had no idea it was Combs sitting over there with a burqa from here up, right?
No idea. I thought it was just this beautiful woman's husband, that they were into some sort of fetish, and I was not expecting them to walk out in that attire. Not at all.
What was Burqa Man doing during that session?
Well, he was set up in a table across the room where he would pace back and forth to kind of get an angle of however he wanted to view. He would give subtle directions.
Repeat. What? I'm making a note here. What did you just say about an angle?
An angle.
He was positioned across the room, and he would kind of pace back and forth to look at us on the couches from different angles. And based on those angles, he would give
You know why that's important,
instructions.
Mr. Hayes? That's important because that echoes. I've been very lighthearted up until this point, but, I'm a crime victim. And many of the crime victims in this case have stated that they would be drugged in their drinks or some other way, and they would wake up the next morning and their would be hurting, right? And then they would be shown a video of the freak-off and threatened that if they ever went public about it, that video would be released. Now, we've also heard reports that Combs would go to different angles to get the best angle, positioning the woman's limbs to get the best angle for the Now what you're saying echoes that. And I bet you had no idea that other women have said that. And now you, Mr. Hayes, a.k.a. the Punisher, you are corroborating what these other witnesses and or victims are saying. That's very critical in my mind, because you may know this. A lot of times, defense attorneys like Greg Morse, they make a very, very good living out of discrediting sex attack victims. But a way to bolster a sex attack victim's testimony is through testimony like what you just said. Because see, when we take a home video, my husband, David, he doesn't go from angle to angle trying to get the best angle. I mean, I'm like, he can turn the phone on correctly. So that's very interesting that mirrors behavior other victims have said. Now, let me get back to, the burqa. So you're in there, and during that session, let me put it euphemistically, Sean Combs is going from angle to angle trying to get the best angle. What else, if anything, did he do?
He's also playing himself. He's holding a bottle of Astroglide. And he's giving, again, subtle instructions to Miss Ventura in terms of moving candles, mostly based on the lighting, the candles in the room, and the position of her body and mine in conjunction to our touching each other and the oil play.
Mr. Hayes, thank you for being with us. You know what? If you could you be specific? You stated that Sean Combs directed Cassie Ventura to move her body. Those were your words. What exactly did he ask her to do?
Like dance or
in this occasion, it was nothing overtly sexual. It was all based on angles to see, lighting, and just a massage. Like, my testimony is about the first interaction. There was no actual sex in terms of oral or penetrative. It was just kind of like a mutual massage, and it wrapped up at that point.
Okay, so you got paid a lot of money to give somebody a massage. Did you ever actually have sex, or as you said, penetration of Cassie Ventura?
Yes, in a later circumstance.
Did Sean Combs direct her regarding any movement of her limbs, as you first said?
No, there was no direction in regards to sex itself.
Just moving candles to get a better angle? Is that what you said?
Yeah, candles for lighting on our bodies, and then sometimes the positioning of her in conjunction to me. He never said a word to me. Everything was directed at Miss Ventura based on, like I said, these subtle cues or directions.
Mm-hmm. Were you dressed up in any particular outfit?
I was not. I was instructed to just come out in a towel. Nude with just a towel. I would always begin in a towel.
Later, you stated that it became difficult for you to maintain focus under Combs's stare. Is that true?
Yes. Like I stated earlier, it was always a discomfort having
another man in the room,
a woman's partner in the room. Once I did realize who they were.
Wait, please, are you telling me you've never done a threesome before? Not according to your resume, man.
Guy. Not with two guys. Two guys and a girl is considered
okay.
Two guys.
So you got sick of Combs directing you and staring at you. And last question, did you ever see one of these?
Nope.
Anything like it? Let me unwrap it. Anything like that?
There was a conscious effort for my peripheral vision to stay above the neckline, so I have no Halloween.
So you know, I'm talking about Combs's.
Oh my God!
I've seen the clips. Yeah, I'm quite sure what you're referring to, and I cannot corroborate those facts, unfortunately. For your
because he ain't want to look.
Just a midge.
I cannot corroborate.
Nice to meet you.
One bit.
Oh my God, that's
nice
crazy.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Oh my goodness. Have you ever seen one of these? Oh my God, that's crazy. Oh my God.
Sean Diddy Combs has quite the extensive beauty routine. Mogul's favorite products are very high-end, including the new Face Trinity facial trainer that uses microcurrents and red light therapy for anti-aging treatments, on sale for a cool $595. Combs swears by 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 products, their $155 C+C vitamin cream in his bathroom counter in raid photos. The NARS Optimal Brightening Cream, also in Combs' arsenal, retailing at $80.
Luxury choices, including Sean John Cologne, Sean Combs Skincare Essentials are Laneige Radiancy Cream, Way Scalp Scrub, Mario Badescu's line, and Quality Sheet Mask, Witch Hazel, Hemp's Lotion, Exotics Aftershave Cream, Miel Hair Oil, and Shea Moisture Body Scrub.
Good luck getting your mitts on that in the pen, Sean Combs. And we have obtained some video of the many, many beauty treatments that Sean Combs enjoys. This is from Diddy's official Instagram. What about it, Lynn Shaw? Did you see that facial? And was he actually getting a facial on his feet too, Lynn Shaw?
I was so focused on that big foot. I'm disgusted. You know what, Dr. Bethany, please book me a session when we're done here so I can come to you for a cleansing of Triple D, because I feel sick. And you know why I feel sick, everybody? Because I keep thinking about all of the victims of Dirty Diddy, what they must be thinking while they're seeing all this. And on top of it, let me tell you, I had to throw out my Way shampoo and conditioner today because I saw it was on his list and I want nothing to do with him. And I wasted a lot of money doing that. But when all is said and done, I'm going to go back like a broken record. We got to remain focused on victims and survivors and listening to them and empowering them at the same time. Because I can't look at him anymore. Dr. Bethany,
Dr. Bethany
please.
Marshall, what about it? Guys, you're seeing Diddy's official Instagram pages. Bethany?
No.
Nancy, he's just getting himself ready for sex. That's what he's doing. And a sex addict like him has to have greater and greater stimulation to achieve sexual arousal. So what is he going to do? He's going to have women, I don't know, massaging him all the time, the baby oil, everything that we heard from the Punisher. It's like P. Diddy was like pushing the envelope. So if this is the testimony we've heard in court thus far, I'm a little frightened to hear what else might have been going on behind the scenes, because all of that moving bodies and moving
you're
limbs.
right. You're right, Dr. Bethany. Sydney Sumner with me, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Sydney, it's, almost laughable to watch him getting his facial and his pedicure and all of that, getting manscaped. But we're talking about sex trafficking, and we had Capricorn Clark on the stand throughout the day today describing losing her hair, crying, being beaten, being held hostage, and more. That's what we don't want to forget.
No, and it's hard to, Nancy. That testimony was scary. I mean, I cannot imagine starting a job and on my first day being taken to this secluded park, sat down by my boss and saying, you didn't tell me you used to work for Suge Knight. So if that becomes a problem, we're going to have to kill you. I mean, can you imagine? Within hours of being hired to start this job, you receive a death threat. He made an offhanded comment to another employee who turned around and told Combs what she said, and he shoved her out of his house physically. Not to mention that he held her hostage for 5 days straight until she passed a polygraph that she had not stolen jewelry from him. And that's not the first time he had held her hostage. That's 3 separate occasions that we've heard about just on the stand today.
Sydney Sumner, you and Lauren Collin are getting totally stressed out by reporting on all the abuse that's been heaped on others by Sean Combs, allegedly. I think you need to go book yourself a stay at the 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗏 or the Intercontinental, but you're going to need one of these. I'm pretty sure in case you get a room that Diddy's been in. We wait as justice unfolds and as evidence pours from the witness stand. And we remember an American hero, police officer David Lee, St. Louis Metropolitan Police, hit and killed in the line of duty. Served 18 years and leaves behind a wife turned widow, Tanya, their 23-year-old son, and an 18-year-old daughter. American hero, police officer David Lee. Thank you to our guests, but especially you for being with us. Nancy Gray signing off. I'll see you tomorrow night, 6 and 9 o'clock sharp Eastern. And until then, good night, friend.
Good night. Man,
Please join us.
She put it down on the people, man. She cut his mic. She will cut your mic and everything, man. Let the people talk. Nancy, let them talk. Let them talk to get their side of the, so we can understand if they 100% right or wrong. You know what I mean? Daggone Diddy. Diddy. Here's another person, the Punisher, is saying that you did some stuff and you like to watch. I don't understand what type of pleasure you get out of seeing your woman into all this stuff with another man. I don't see the pleasure in that right there. Because he got a little Tootsie Roll and wish he had a bigger Tootsie Roll. That's why he need a bigger Tootsie Roll in the room. Because he wishing that maybe if you got a small Tootsie Roll, maybe you into that type of thing. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know, man. But I know one thing, man. Let me know if y'all are into. I'm going to get on up out of here. Oh my God, man. I guess size does make a difference. I got to ask the ladies about that. Y'all, I'm going to get on up out of here, Uncle Mike. I'm done, son. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.